Welcome to episode 10 of Building Modular Dreams. Over the next 7 parts, we're diving deep into modular as an investment strategy. Not just a place to live, but a way to generate income, build equity, and even change your financial future.
That's right. We're seeing a massive surge in interest from investors, first-timers, seasoned developers, even retirees looking for cash flow. They're all turning to modular because the numbers make sense.
In this part, we're breaking it down. The logic, the benefits, the returns, and the opportunities. If you've ever wondered whether modular can be more than a roof over your head, this episode is for you.
So let's start with what makes modular different from an investment standpoint. For starters, speed. A modular build can go from order to income producing in as little as 12 to 16 weeks. That's half the time or less of a traditional build.
And time is money. If you're borrowing, every month saved is interest saved. And if you're renting it out, you're generating income sooner. That's better yield, faster.
Cost certainty is another big one. Traditional builders often hit you with variations, weather delays, and blowouts. With modular, you get a fixed price before you start. That's peace of mind.
And then there's scale. You can replicate modular investments quickly. If one unit performs well, you're not waiting a year to do another. You can roll out a second, a third, even a 4-pack based on the same plan. Let's
talk returns. One of our most common builds, a 2-bedroom, 60 square metre modular dwelling, costs around $160,000 installed. In many areas, that's renting for $500 to $550 per week.
That's a gross yield of around 16 to 18% per year. Even after allowing for running costs, insurance, and maintenance, net returns of 10 to 12% are achievable. Try getting that from a traditional build in today's market.
And remember, those builds are usually in backyards, lifestyle blocks, or low-cost regional towns. The land is already owned or acquired cheaply, and there's no massive infrastructure cost.
Now let's compare. A traditional new build, double the price, double the time, and in most areas, only delivering a 4 to 6% gross yield. It's a no-brainer.
And it gets better when you factor in depreciation. Modular buildings qualify for depreciation just like any other investment property. You can claim thousands per year in tax offsets.
Some investors are even combining modular with NDIS or disability housing, where they earn premium rents and help solve real problems in the community.
Or using modular for dual occupancy, Airbnb, short-term rural stays, or staff accommodation in mining or agricultural towns.
One of our clients built a 2-unit setup on a block they'd owned for years. 1 long-term rental, 1 short stay. The return? Over $1,600 a week on a $300,000 outlay.
That's the power of modular. Quick deployment, strong rent, low holding costs, and massive flexibility.
Let's also talk lending. Modular is becoming more accepted by lenders, especially when the builder is licensed, the contracts are fixed, and the project includes proper footings and services.
We work with brokers who specialise in this. They understand how to structure finance for modular and unlock equity to make it happen.
Another big advantage, modular doesn't tie you down. Want to sell the land but keep the dwelling? Move it. Want to relocate the building to a new investment site? Easy.
Try doing that with bricks and mortar.
What we're saying is, modular is no longer just affordable, it's bankable. It fits into SMSFs, trusts, investment portfolios, and even side hustle strategies.
It's also scalable. You don't need to commit to $1 million development. Start with 1. Learn, refine, then duplicate.
And there's less exposure. If you spend $160,000 on a modular dwelling and the market slows, you're not stuck with a half-built house and $800,000 in finance.
You've got a working asset, on time, on budget, and earning.
And let's not forget the personal benefits. Modular can also be used to house family, reduce living costs, or provide multi-generational options that free up cash elsewhere.
It's not just an investment in bricks. It's an investment in lifestyle, freedom, and flexibility.
In part 2, we're going to show you the actual numbers, real modular deals, real client stories, and how they're stacking up financially.
You'll see how average Aussies are turning modular into long-term income and building wealth without the stress of traditional property.
This is the modular advantage, and it's just getting started. In part 1, We broke down why modular is becoming one of the smartest investment plays in 2025. Now in part 2, we're getting real. We're talking numbers, actual case studies, and how our clients are stacking up strong financial returns with modular builds.
That's right. If you've been wondering, but does it actually work? And this is where we prove it, because we're not just talking about theory. We're seeing this happen week after week, project after project.
Let's kick things off with a classic dual income setup. This was for a young couple in Dubbo who had a decent-sized backyard, already owned their home, and wanted to add a secondary dwelling to create passive income.
They went with one of our Comfort Series 2-bedroom units installed with steel piers, plumbing, services and fencing. All up, turnkey price, $160,000.
They rented it out for $480 per week within 10 days of listing. That's a gross yield of over 15% per annum. With low maintenance and minimal holding costs, they're clearing more than $20,000 in net income per year.
And here's the kicker. They used equity in their main home to finance the build. So they had no out-of-pocket cash, zero, pure leverage. That's smart investing.
Another one, an investor on the Sunshine Coast. She bought a corner block with an older home, subdivided the land, and built 2 one-bedroom modular units on the rear title. Total build and install cost, $280,000.
She now rents each unit for $420 a week. Combined income, $840 a week or $43,680 per year. That's a gross yield of over 15% in a coastal postcode.
Even better, the rental demand for affordable modern units in that area is through the roof. She's had a waiting list since completion.
That's the power of modular, speed to market, affordability and rental appeal.
Let's talk Airbnb. One of our clients in the Hunter Valley put a one-bedroom design from our Balance series on their lifestyle block. The install cost was around $140,000, including deck and landscaping.
Since then, they've been booked out almost every weekend. Average nightly rate, $180. That's nearly $700 a week. Annual gross income is pushing $36,000, and that's with minimal management.
And because it's fully self-contained and off-grid capable, there's almost zero operating cost. They're already planning a second cabin.
Then there's the investor who's using modular to build staff housing in a regional mining town. He built 3 2-bedroom units at $150,000 each. Total cost, $450,000.
He leases them to a local company for $1,500 per week. Guaranteed rent, no vacancy, 5-year lease. That's $78,000 per year on a $500,000 investment. 17% return locked in.
You won't get that in Sydney or Melbourne. And you can't build traditional homes that fast, that cheap, or that profitably in remote areas.
Another case, a Melbourne-based client used their SMSF to fund a dual occupancy modular setup on a block in Ballarat. The fund bought the land, contracted AJC for 2 2-bedroom units, and now receives $950 a week in tax-effective rental income.
They're earning, growing equity and building super, all from modular.
These aren't flukes. These are systemised, replicable investment models, and they work because modular is designed for efficiency.
Let's break down the economics of a typical high-performing modular investment. Say you build a 2-bedroom, 60-square-metre home for $160,000, rented at $500 a week. That's $26,000 per year.
Net that down after insurance, rates and maintenance, you're still pocketing $20,000 plus. And the kicker? Your build time was 10 to 12 weeks, not 10 to 12 months.
Faster ROI, lower risk, stronger yield, less stress. This is what smart investors are waking up to.
And the returns get even better when you combine modular with value-add strategies. Dual income, Airbnb, tax depreciation, or subdivision.
And don't forget lifestyle gains. We've had parents build modular homes for adult children, then rent them later, or downsizers move into modular units and rent their family home.
It's cash flow with flexibility. Modular puts you in control over your money, your living arrangement, and your future.
In the next part, we'll go step by step through how to actually structure a modular investment, from site selection to finance to approvals and tenanting.
We'll show you how to avoid common pitfalls, where to find opportunities, and how to build a modular portfolio that pays for itself.
Because we're not just building homes, we're building wealth strategies.
See you in part 3. Welcome back to part 3 of episode 10. Now that we've shown you the numbers and the proof that modular works as an investment, let's talk about how to actually structure it for success.
Whether you're building your first modular for rental income or planning a multi-unit development, it all comes down to planning. And in this episode, we're going to show you exactly how to do it, from choosing the right site to financing, approvals, and rollout.
Let's start with site selection. Not every block is a winner, even if the price is right. You need access, serviceability, the right zoning, and preferably a council with a reputation for working well with modular.
The sweet spots? Large backyards, corner blocks, dual occupancy sites, regional hubs with housing shortages, and lifestyle towns with tourism appeal. The goal is a block that gives you options.
Step 2, your investment strategy. Ask yourself, what's the end game? Long-term rental, short-term Airbnb, dual occupancy, flipping for capital gain, staff housing?
Each strategy comes with different needs. Airbnb might require a design with wow factor and off-grid capability. Long-term rental, you want low-maintenance materials and efficient space planning.
Once you know your goal, step 3 is due diligence. That means soil testing, a title check, BAL rating, easement search, and planning overlay review. We've seen deals fall over because people didn't do the homework.
And this is where we help. Our pre-feasibility team runs these checks for free before you commit to a build. We'll flag any red flags before they cost you money.
Next up, finance. Modular funding is different from buying an existing home. Some banks see it as construction, others see it as transportable. But more lenders are coming on board.
The key is presentation. Have a full project summary, site details, builder contract, council approval path, and potential rental income. It helps your broker paint a clear picture.
We also work with finance brokers who understand modular. They know how to structure deals so you're not getting knocked back over technicalities.
Now, onto approvals. We've said this before, but it's worth repeating. Get your approvals in order before you build. That means DA or CDC, bushfire assessments, and building certification.
Our in-house approvals team will handle this for you. They'll tell you exactly what your site needs, coordinate the consultants, and get it over the line.
Once your funding and approvals are sorted, it's time to plan your delivery. That includes site prep, trenching, footings, and service connection.
Don't try and DIY this unless you're experienced. Use licensed contractors who've worked with modular before. One wrong trench or misplaced footing can delay everything.
When the building arrives, it's all about coordination. We handle the crane, transport, and install, but your job is to make sure the site is ready and access is clear.
Then comes the handover. We complete our internal checks, hand over keys, and give you your compliance documents and warranty pack. From there, you're ready to lease or list.
Let's talk about tenanting. For long-term rental, engage a good local agent early. Let them start pre-marketing while the build is happening.
For short-term stays, consider a management service or use a smart lock and automation system. The less time you spend managing, the better your return.
And don't forget insurance. You need to be covered during construction, delivery, and operation. Modular-specific insurance is available and will connect you to the right providers.
One last tip, track everything. Expenses, depreciation, maintenance, income. Use a property management software or a spreadsheet. This isn't just a building, it's a business.
So let's recap. Choose the right site with flexibility and growth. Define your investment strategy. Run a full due diligence check. Secure modular-friendly finance. Get your approvals in place before starting. Prep your site with the right trades. Coordinate your delivery with experienced pros. And get tenants in ASAP. Protect your asset with insurance. Track your returns like a business.
When you follow that roadmap, modular becomes more than affordable. It becomes powerful.
In part 4, we'll dive deeper into tax benefits, depreciation schedules, and how modular stacks up in your accountant's office.
Because earning income is great, but keeping it is better.
See you in the next part.
Welcome to part 4 of our investment series. If you've been following along, you now understand why modular is such a powerful property investment tool. But today, we're talking about the other side of your returns, the money you save, claim back, and write off.
That's right. If you're building a modular home and not optimizing your tax benefits, you're leaving money on the table. Because modular homes qualify for the same depreciation, deductions, and investment incentives as traditional properties, and in some ways, they're even better.
Let's break it down. The first major advantage is depreciation. If you're renting out your modular building, you can claim depreciation on both the structure and the fittings. That means every year, your accountant can claim part of the building's value as an expense, reducing your taxable income.
Now, because modular homes are considered new builds with modern fittings, they fall under the current depreciation rules. That means you can claim Division 43 for the building structure at 2.5% per year over 40 years and Division 40 for plant and equipment.
Plant and equipment includes things like hot water systems, kitchen appliances, air conditioning units, carpets, blinds, ceiling fans, and even solar panels. These can be depreciated faster, sometimes in as little as 5 years.
We had a client in Central Queensland who built a 2-bedroom modular home for $160,000. In the first year alone, they claimed nearly $9,000 in depreciation. That's not a typo.
Over 5 years, their total depreciation benefit exceeded $35,000. That's $35K they didn't have to pay tax on, all because they structured their investment correctly.
Of course, to do this right, you need a professional depreciation schedule. We recommend having a quantity surveyor prepare one after your building is installed. It's a small cost, usually under $700, and it pays for itself in the first tax return.
Next up, loan interest. If you borrowed money to fund your modular build, the interest on that loan is fully tax deductible. That includes both the land loan and the build loan.
Same goes for running costs. Insurance, property management, council rates, maintenance, even your accountant's fee, they're all deductible against your rental income.
And because modular homes are generally lower maintenance and faster to rent out, your holding costs are usually lower than a traditional build. That means a stronger net return.
Some investors even split their modular investment into multiple entities, for example, using a trust or company structure. That allows for income splitting, asset protection, or reinvestment strategies.
Just make sure you speak to your accountant before you sign contracts. Once the structure is set, it's hard to change.
Now let's talk about capital gains. If you sell a modular investment after holding it for over 12 months, you may be eligible for the 50% capital gains tax discount. That's the same benefit you'd get with traditional real estate.
We've had investors sell modular dwellings with the land for significant profits, especially in rising markets. One client in Wagga Wagga bought land for $95,000, installed a $150,000 modular, and sold the property 2 years later for $380,000.
After agents and fees, they walked away with around $120,000 in profit, more than half of which was CGT free.
You can also use modular homes in your SMSF. As long as the dwelling is used for investment purposes and not personal use, it qualifies under superannuation investment rules.
And because SMSFs can't borrow to renovate or extend once the build is complete, modular gives them a way to invest in new property without the risk of incomplete builds or blown out timelines.
Another bonus. If you're investing in certain areas or using the dwelling for affordable housing or NDIS, you may be eligible for additional incentives or grants. These change often, so check with your local government.
The key takeaway here is this. Modular investments don't just return through rental yield, they return through tax efficiency. And that can make a huge difference to your bottom line.
Here's a quick example. Let's say you earn $120,000 a year and your modular property earns $24,000 in rent. After expenses and depreciation, your taxable income drops by $15,000. That's a $4,500 plus saving in tax alone.
And when you combine that with positive cash flow from the rent, you're ahead every single year, even before capital growth.
To do this right, you need a few things in place. A modular builder who understands investment-grade construction. A finance broker who knows how to present modular deals. An accountant who specialises in property and depreciation. A good property manager or platform, if you're renting.
And a long-term mindset, because modular is fast, but the real wealth comes from holding, scaling, and reinvesting.
In Part 5, we'll cover how to grow a modular portfolio. Not just one unit, but 2, 3, or 10. We'll talk leverage, equity recycling, and how to turn one modular success into a full property income stream.
Because this isn't about short-term flips. It's about building a sustainable, flexible, and profitable property strategy that works in any market.
Stick with us. You're building more than a modular home. You're building financial freedom. We're back with part 5 of episode 10, and today we're thinking bigger. If you've built one modular dwelling and you're happy with the returns, why stop there?
That's right. This part is all about scaling, turning a single modular investment into a full-blown portfolio that delivers recurring income, long-term capital growth, and flexible housing options.
And the best part, you don't need millions in capital or massive land holdings to do it. With the right structure and approach, you can build a high-performing modular portfolio in stages, one smart project at a time.
So let's lay out the plan. Most modular portfolios start with a test case, a single dwelling in the backyard or on a small block. Once that performs, it becomes the launch pad for the next project.
That's what we call proof of concept. When your first modular is built, tenanted, and delivering solid yield, you've built credibility with your lender, your accountant, and yourself.
The next step is unlocking equity. As that first modular generates income and appreciates in value, you can refinance or extract equity to fund the second build.
For example, one client built a $160,000 unit that was independently valued at $220,000 once tenanted. That's $60,000 in equity they were able to roll into their next project.
They repeated the process 3 times, adding units in different towns with different rental strategies. Now they've got over $2,000 a week in rental income and a property portfolio worth over $1 million, all built modular.
The key to this is standardization. Modular lets you replicate success. You can use the same floor plan, the same approvals path, the same trades, the same process, just drop it on a different block.
That's what makes scaling easier. Traditional developments require custom plans, DA juggling, and 12-month builds. Modular lets you multiply with speed and confidence.
And there's a sweet spot. Many investors find that the 2-bedroom, 60 square metre design delivers the best return per dollar spent. It's affordable to build, easy to rent, and fits on most blocks.
But the magic happens when you combine that with different yield strategies. One unit might be long-term rental. The next, short-term Airbnb. Another could be NDIS or worker accommodation.
It's called diversification. You're not relying on one market, one tenant type, or one location. You spread your risk and increase your resilience.
Let's talk land strategy. As you scale, you can start looking for larger parcels, blocks that can fit 2, 3, or even 5 modular homes.
We've had clients buy 800 square metres plus corner lots in regional towns, split the land, and install 3 units with shared driveways. The income is huge, and the build cost per unit drops with volume.
We've also worked with investors doing land and modular combos. They secure cheap land, often off-market, and package it with modular to create instant equity and income.
And don't overlook leasehold options. Some investors are leasing land from rural property owners or caravan parks, installing modulars, and running them as accommodation businesses.
You can even build a portfolio across multiple states, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, all using the same system. Modular makes it portable and repeatable.
As your portfolio grows, you need systems. A good spreadsheet is a start. But we recommend a proper property management platform to track income, expenses, maintenance, and occupancy.
And as always, surround yourself with a solid team. A modular savvy accountant, a broker who gets property strategy, and a builder who can deliver consistently.
We also recommend engaging a buyer's agent or researcher if you're moving into unfamiliar markets. Local knowledge makes a huge difference in identifying demand and regulation quirks.
Another thing, we've seen people get stuck after their second or third modular. They hit a serviceability ceiling with their lender. That's when it's time to look at different structures.
Discretionary trusts, unit trusts, or SMSFs can allow you to keep growing, even if your personal borrowing capacity is capped.
Just make sure you get advice. Don't build your portfolio on guesswork. Build it on structure.
So let's summarize the scaling steps. Start with a test case that proves the model. Revalue and refinance to access equity. Repeat the process with a proven design and process. Diversify income strategies and locations. Look for multi-unit blocks to scale faster. Implement tracking systems for performance. Build a team of modular professionals. Use entity structures to grow beyond personal limits.
With that roadmap, we've seen everyday investors go from one modular in the backyard to portfolios generating six-figure incomes.
And the beauty of it, you're building assets that are flexible, mobile, efficient, and designed for the future of housing.
In part 6, we're going to switch gears a little and talk about risk, because every investment has its challenges, and modular is no exception.
But with the right preparation, those risks are manageable and the upside is huge.
So stick with us as we unpack how to future-proof your investment and make smart decisions at every stage.
See you in part 6. In part 5, we talked about building a modular portfolio. But now it's time to get real. Every investment has risks, and while modular has plenty of upside, it's not immune to mistakes, delays, or market changes.
So today, we're looking those risks in the eye and giving you the tools to manage them. Because when you plan for what could go wrong, you're far more likely to get it right.
Let's kick off with one of the biggest risks, site readiness. We've seen it more than once. The building is ready, the crane is booked, the truck is coming, and the site isn't ready.
Footing's not poured, trenching not finished, trees in the way, a narrow driveway with no crane access. These issues cause delays that can cost thousands.
The solution? Follow the checklist. Every client we work with gets a detailed site, prep document, trenching specs, crane access diagrams, peer engineering, and timelines. Follow it, and your delivery runs like clockwork.
Next up, council and compliance. People sometimes assume modular is a shortcut around red tape, but it's not. If you build without proper approval, you're asking for trouble.
That means a development application or CDC, a bushfire attack level assessment if required, flood risk, and zoning checks. If you skip these, you could be forced to relocate or even remove the dwelling.
We've helped clients fix these mistakes, but it's always more expensive than doing it right the first time.
Third risk, incorrect budget assumptions. Too many investors look at the headline, build cost, and forget about the add-ons. Footings, power connection, plumbing, fencing, landscaping approvals, and GST.
That's why we offer turnkey quotes. We'll walk you through every likely cost, including optional extras. You'll know what to expect and your cash flow stays under control.
Here's another risk, vacancy. Even the best investment isn't working for you if it's sitting empty. Location matters, so does product market fit.
That means building the right dwelling for the right tenant. A one-bedroom off-grid cabin might be perfect for Airbnb in Byron, but terrible as a rental in suburban Wagga.
Do your research. Talk to agents. Look at comparable properties on Domain, Airbnb, or local real estate sites. What's renting quickly? What's sitting for weeks?
And start marketing early. If it's a rental, list before delivery. If it's an Airbnb, get your profile up while it's still being built.
Now let's talk about tenant damage and wear. Modular homes are built to last, but no building is immune to bad tenants.
That's where property management comes in. We always recommend using a good agent, especially if you're remote. They'll screen tenants, do inspections, and handle issues before they become disasters.
And yes, insurance. Make sure your building is covered for public liability, fire, flood, theft, and tenant damage. Modular-friendly policies are out there. Ask us. We'll point you in the right direction.
Another risk, builder failure. We've all heard the horror stories, builders going bust halfway through the job, clients left stranded.
AJC has been in business for over a decade. We build under fixed price contracts, we carry full insurances, and we deliver from a factory with full transparency.
But if you're using another builder, do your due diligence, check their license, check their track record, look at online reviews, speak to past clients.
And never pay upfront in full. Use a payment schedule tied to milestones. Frame complete, lock up, delivery, and handover.
What about market downturns? Can modular hold its value in a falling market?
The answer is yes, and often better than traditional homes. Because modular is lower entry cost and faster to install, it's easier to adapt. You're not sitting on a $900,000 mortgage waiting for a sale.
And if your area softens, you can adjust rent, relocate the building, or add another unit to increase income.
The key is staying flexible. Modular is a nimble asset. That's part of its strength.
Let's also talk about project fatigue. You've done one modular, maybe two, and then you hit a wall. Delays, dramas, paperwork, it gets tiring.
That's why we're big on systems, templates, checklists, a builder who can replicate results, and a team to lean on.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, press pause, regroup, and get advice. Don't rush into Project 3 if Project 2 needs attention.
Lastly, complacency. The biggest risk in any investment is assuming everything will go to plan.
Expect speed bumps. Plan for curveballs. Set aside contingencies. Keep $10,000 to $15,000 liquid in your budget for surprises.
And track your numbers. A spreadsheet can save you thousands. If a build cost jumps or a rent drops, you'll see it coming and adapt.
So to recap the risks: site not ready, council issues or missing approvals, underestimating total costs, vacancy from poor product or market fit, tenant damage, builder unreliability, market downturns, burnout or poor planning, insurance gaps, complacency.
Now, the good news, all of these are manageable, and with the right builder, the right mindset, and the right process, modular becomes one of the least risky ways to invest in property.
In Part 7, the final chapter of Episode 10, we'll show you how to tie it all together. We'll talk exit strategies, generational wealth, and how modular sets you up for real freedom.
See you in the finale. We've reached the final chapter of Episode 10, and what a journey it's been. Over 6 parts, we've shown you how modular investments are built, scaled, protected, and profited from. But now we want to take a step back and ask the big question: where does this all lead?
Because building a modular property is great. Earning passive income is even better. But the real magic happens when you use modular as a tool to build generational wealth, create options, and ultimately gain freedom.
Let's start with something every investor should have: an exit strategy. Because no matter how good your property is, there may come a time when you want or need to cash out. And the best exits are planned from day one.
With modular, you've got more flexibility than most. You can sell the entire property, land and home. You can lease it. You can subdivide and sell the modular separately. You can even relocate the building and sell it as a standalone unit.
One of our clients in regional New South Wales built 2 modular homes on a dual lot. When the market rose, they sold one for $290,000 and kept the other for rental income. It was the perfect hybrid exit, cash plus cash flow.
Another investor in Queensland moved their modular Airbnb to a new block closer to town when bookings slowed. The entire relocation cost less than $15,000 and doubled their booking rate.
That kind of flexibility is almost unheard of in traditional property, but it gives you options, and options equal power.
Let's talk legacy. For many people, modular is the foundation of a long-term wealth plan. It's about building something today that benefits their kids, grandkids, and beyond.
We've had families build modular homes for adult children, helping them escape the rent trap and build equity early. Some even turn the buildings into gifts or inheritances.
Others use modular to support aging parents, providing a self-contained home out the back, rather than paying for a retirement facility. That's not just smart, it's dignified.
And modular plays perfectly into intergenerational planning. It's low maintenance, relocatable, and cash flow positive. Perfect for trusts, SMSFs, or estate planning.
Here's the other part: time freedom. We've had clients use modular income to reduce their work hours, take sabbaticals, or change careers.
One guy in Victoria used the rent from his modular to cover school fees. Another used Airbnb revenue to fund overseas travel with his family.
And let's not forget about early retirement. A modular portfolio generating $2,000 a week can replace a 6-figure salary and with fewer headaches.
Plus, you don't need to liquidate shares or rely on the pension. Your assets are tangible, income producing, and resilient.
So how do you build a legacy modular strategy? Start with these pillars. Pick a scalable design that can be replicated and relocated. Use structures that allow for intergenerational transfer, like trusts or SMSFs. Diversify locations and income types. Include fallback plans. Rental, resale, Airbnb relocation. Document everything clearly for your family or successors.
It's not just about numbers. It's about peace of mind. Knowing your loved ones will benefit from the choices you made today.
And it's never been more accessible. Modular homes are no longer fringe or temporary. They're respected, recognised and in demand.
Banks are financing them. Councils are approving them. Buyers are lining up for them. That's not a fad. It's a foundation.
And the affordability crisis isn't going away. That means modular demand will keep growing for rentals, downsizes, holiday homes, and supported accommodation.
If you position yourself now, you won't just benefit, you'll lead. You'll be the landlord with premium modern homes, the seller with something buyers actually want, the investor with resilience.
And as the building industry evolves, you'll be ready to adapt. Modular lets you pivot, upsize, downsize, lease, sell, scale.
In short, you'll be free. Free from relying on one income, free from traditional property limitations, free to live life on your terms.
That's why we say modular isn't just construction. It's a movement, a philosophy, a way to build smart, live well and leave a legacy.
So whether you're just starting with your first build or mapping out a 10-year portfolio, we're here to help. We've built the systems, the team, and the experience to support you every step.
And we're not done. AJC Modular is continuing to innovate, expand and empower Australians to take control of their future.
We hope episode 10 gave you the insight and inspiration to take that next step, whether it's an investment, a lifestyle shift, or a legacy project.
From both of us, thanks for listening. Keep dreaming big, keep building smart.
And above all, live modular.